in a world, in an era where we are or we have been taught and we continue to teach our kids to run, run, run. But that 6 minutes when you invest every morning, every night, you see huge shift, the clarity you would get to channelize and focus your energy.
What if the key to your business success was hiding in your hormones? Today's guest cracked the code on using metabolic health as a launching pad for entrepreneurship, and tens of thousands have followed her lead. Meet Poornima Vamsi, hormone coach, founder of Mind and Movement Health, and the voice behind transformational root cause protocols for women's health and wellness. She turned her own thyroid battle into a thriving coaching empire, proving that when you heal yourself, you can scale any business. Purnima, welcome to the Niya Desai Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nia. That was beautiful and very heartwarming introduction.
Most welcome. Purnima, you launched a six-figure wellness practice out of a small home office while battling your own thyroid issues. What was the moment you realized you could turn your health crisis into a business?
That's a beautiful question. And, even now when I'm speaking, it is from this house setup. And if you ask me for that one wake up call, it was more to do with my own deeper insight on what is it that would have caused my thyroid gland to have triggered, for the thyroid numbers to have risen, and that which resulted in hypothyroidism. I have asked at least hundreds and thousands of individuals who have thyroid on what is it that I can do to reverse. And everybody told me, once on thyroid meds, always on thyroid meds. What they say is our body not capable enough to heal. And when I went on that path and understood that there is a possibility, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's not just me. I know of thousands and hundreds or even lakhs of individuals who need that support. And when I started, it was COVID. Everything was locked down. Only available medium was digital. And that moment was right for me to get started and serve in my own way the larger community.
That is incredible because they say necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep,
And your
absolutely.
necessity ended up being an entire methodology. I have hypothyroidism since the past 19 years. And although my thyroid has been normal for the past 2 years, I'm still on the meds. And I've asked this question to probably five endocrinologists. Can I get off the meds? They're like, nope, you should not. The medical system, we are not given the true insights.
There are different ways of looking at it, Nia. When I was diagnosed, I fell pregnant with my second child. Each of us are different, and it is very important to get to that root cause. You will hear a lot of root cause in our conversation today. It is very important for us to understand why. Where did
Mm.
it all come from? And even when we go to doctors, most of the times it's maximum of a TSH, T3, and T4. That's checked. The antibodies are not checked. In fact, the gut health is not checked because
And
all of
it's not covered insurance too,
yeah, yeah,
especially in America.
yeah. We live in an era now where everything is on numbers with respect to doctors. How many patients are we seeing? Are we diagnosing? All right, fine. Let's get started with thyroxine or thyronorm or anything that which works for that particular diagnosis. I had an excellent GP with me where she said, Purnima, I think you can slowly wean you off from the thyroid medication. And I'm like, oh, wow. After years, somebody is working in accordance with me. I'm in for it. I have waited for 5 years for someone to tell that to me. And we started working hand in hand. And that's when, probably in a matter of 3 months, I completely got off the thyroid medication. And it's now been 4+ years that I have not swallowed a pill every single morning after we wake up without brushing or without having anything.
Oh my gosh, you're creating a dream for me. So I'm going to be definitely your future client. I was also diagnosed with Hashimoto's.
Mm, mm.
So I never knew about these because they never did any test.
Yeah, I think there is this a little gap in that medical system of how the diagnosis happen, and most of the times, thyroidism is actually Hashimoto's, but it doesn't get diagnosed until late. Probably where you are an example now.
Yes.
That.
So you stepped from corporate healthcare to build mind and movement health. What was the biggest risk you took in those early days, and how did you survive the feast or famine or startup coaching?
I come from this space of um, everything that happens within, and the symptoms are only shown externally, physically for us, right? So when we look at how things are dealt in the otherwise corporate world of where people talk about most of the times with health systems, it's 80% diet and 20% exercise.
Mm-hmm.
He flies around that in this 80% of diet and 20% of exercise, there is 100% of emotions, that which drives us with what we want to do with these two. I
Mm-hmm.
always give this example that a woman who is probably, stressed with her work, stressed with her family, just has too much to do, is not going to go and pick an apple or not going to pick a glass of green tea because she knows that is good for her health. Versus what she will do is the way her body functions, the hormones get released, the cortisol that which spikes is going to allow her to pick something that she so craves for. For some of us, it's sweet. For some of us, it's savory. Now, that is when the emotional eating comes into play, and the 80% of diet and 20% of exercise goes for a toss,
Yeah.
right? So when I got into what I am doing currently, my belief lied around working with that inner work. So there are again many of them who have asked me through my entrepreneurial journey, you have so much competition, health is actually saturated field. I
Yeah.
My focus is on body plus mind plus soul being the biggest pillar, mind being the second biggest, and body being the smallest. So I am not focused on this nutrition and exercise. I'm focused on those triggers, traumas, what the individual has gone through, what they are going through, how their other factors of life impact them to be who they are today. What is it that has happened in the childhood that which defines them to be who they are? So I do not see a competition for myself. I am my own competition, and I work on striving and thriving to improve what I can do for the current world.
That's such a beautiful approach, Poornima. I'm also a mindset coach for women, and teach women and moms about how you change your mindset sets you apart from where you look at success. And a lot of times we have the invisible labor inside our heart. We have self doubt, we have the limiting beliefs that are creeping inside us
Yeah.
that I'm probably not good enough. I just love what you just said. It's wonderful. 70% of solo consultants report zero revenue in the first 6 months.
Mhm.
Yet you hit that milestone in month three, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, absolutely correct. I have had my own tough childhood, not with my parents, but the way I used to look at myself carried those beautiful limiting beliefs that you just spoke about. But I have learned to have that belief in me from the time I got into mentorship with my business mentor. And one thing that I'm truly proud of is I trust and surrender to the process. I do
Love
not
it.
question my mentors. I do not
Hmm.
question my coaches. I'm like, if they have done it, they have walked that path. I rather be wise enough to be able to blindfold myself and then only listen and follow what they follow.
Amazing.
I owe my success with that Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook, all put together, more than 2K plus followers, all organically again, to my mentors blindly with trust.
Yeah.
That mantra for success.
Yeah, and you've also incorporated a very important thing that a lot of people is when you're starting entrepreneurship or you're starting something new, it's so important to find the right mentor. And I've taught this to so many people so many times at different platforms, whether it's a speaking engagement or on podcast, that find a mentor, find a coach. Don't do this alone. There is so many options in today's world. And that's exactly why I failed 4 businesses during COVID. I quit my job, but it was like a slap on my face because I was doing everything by myself. And then when the mentor came to my life, I said, "Oh, I failed 4 businesses." She said, "No, you just earned 4 experience."
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
was like, "Oh my gosh, how else would I have learned?"
Yeah.
This life lesson is when you find the right mentor.
I cannot agree more, Nia. And if I can use metaphorically, why do we have to send our kids to school? You and I know ABCD. We know 1, 2, 3, 4. Let them sit at home and then we will teach them. That's not the intent, isn't it? There is a process of putting them in the school, the surroundings they have, the same mindset of kids that they would be part of, the learning that is taught to them. I look at myself or anybody who is in this entrepreneurial journey as that child who has to go to that school or that program where we have the same community of people, each of us struggling, learning, having those challenges, yet someone holding us and walking us through that path.
So true. So your signature program sells out within days. What's the secret to pricing your high ticket wellness offers so they convert, even in a, like you said, in a crowded marketplace?
Yeah. So, as much as I use the word that I am my own competitor, I'm unique. However, if there are people who do the body, mind, soul aspect, there are only handful of them globally that I have been able to find out who work on these. I actually enrolled myself into a couple of such programs to see what it is that they do and then get my learnings from there. That also allows me to see what their packages are. And when I set my packages out, there are two ways that I do, Nia. One, I get into meditative state. I did 45 minutes of meditation before for me to ground myself, for me to be present in the moment, right? Otherwise, it's very easy with two young kids for me to be lost in thoughts. So, in terms of setting the price, I do meditation to allow the program flow and the price to come. I also look at what is the current market talking about. I love Luke Coutinho, who was into different movements in India, Jago Bharat with Modi ji. I'm an ardent follower of him. I had a complete brochure of what his programs involved, what his investments were, etc. And I also realized that it's not for Janta, if that's the right word to use. It is in a way heavy on the pocket for people from different financial backgrounds. So I asked myself, all right, if I want to support a woman like me, a woman who wakes up in the morning, looks at herself in the mirror and says, there is something that is not right in me, a woman who has either one or two young kids, a woman who is working, a woman who probably has to commute every day to work, a woman who has to juggle several balls in the day, and then what is the best thing I can do to support her. My highest program, one to one, is definitely niche, but we also have programs as low as $87 and we go up to 4K USD, catering to people in between with whatever their financial availability is.
That's so incredible. I love that. And I love your approach of having different, pricing for different audience. And that is very important in today's world because a lot of coaches get lost. They can become generalists, right? And it's working so well is because not only you're humble about the process, you're also humble about actually creating a movement by changing their mind, body, and soul. You are making a revolution, a change in their current life and their current problems that they've been facing for probably forever, like people like me. And when you start thinking your mind that you're going to help this person versus make money from them, I think things start changing.
Yeah, the entire ball game shifts over there. I do have a team and the business needs to run, and that is what has allowed me to be where I am today.
Love that. And many health coaches actually struggle to balance client care while running the business. A lot of them just go downhill as soon as they start hiring people. What systems or automations did you implement to scale without burning out?
I don't know if you're aware, Nia. I still work full time. So 2 months back, I went part time. I still work 4 days with the Australian government. I started off during COVID. It was just me and one more person. I had this backbone as my pillar of support or anything. It's my husband. I lack technically. So for the funnels, for the fixations, for the automations, he was there ready with me. We have burnt so many midnight oils sitting and creating that program online, putting it all together, because initially you would not have the funds to be able to invest into a VA, into a communications engagement lead, into a client support manager, into a head coach. Given a solopreneur, I can only have just one more supporting hand for her to be able to do few things. See, I'm not in a marathon, rather I would say sprint is what I would call with what I'm doing, right? So do, and then we check, and then we again do. From where we started in 2020 to where I am in 2025, there have been lots of ups and downs. I would be kidding if I said there were no downs. No business model can be like this, Nia. I have learned from my mentor that the business is always going like this, and then it's an S sort of curve, and then there is again a growth. That is what I have learned, and I believe in that. So from doing all of that by ourselves between me and my husband to then slowly understanding that there are platforms like Fiverr, platforms like Upwork, where you can actually outsource a few of your automations or funnel buildings, etc. to
Yeah.
yeah, to learning and understanding that you can actually have a social media management team, have a Facebook ads team. So it's a long way that I have come in the last 5 years. And today, in the blink of an eye, I might say that we started off with 1 plus 1, and today we are a team of more than 10. But it did not happen overnight.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And you're doing a job. That is insane. I don't know how I teach all my moms there is no balance. So I have to ask you this question. Where is the harmony?
Yeah.
Saleswoman. So if anybody tells me that, how do you do this? You run a podcast, you're a mindset coach, you're out. I'm a hiker, so like yesterday, all day went in hiking, but yeah, like I was up since 5 a.m. figuring out, covering up for my self care day, which is very much needed for me because I had absolutely no screens for 8 full hours.
Wow.
And that is my self care. Gives me so much peace. And since this morning, I'm on a mission. I
Yeah.
feel recharged, refreshed, and ready to take the world.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Yep. I'm questioned also about all that I do. All that socializing that I do is with my husband. We go once a week. We step out for coffee in the nature, sit, have chat, and then come back. Or, Friday nights and Saturday nights, we just wind down.
That's so beautiful. I had one question regarding this particular segment that cash flow is king. Can you share the revenue breakdown between your one is to one coaching, group programs, and digital resources for anybody who's getting into entrepreneurships for them to get a visibility into this space?
100%. More than happy to do that. But before even I get into the revenue aspect or how the programs are, I'm a strong believer of giving freebies. So,
Mm,
anybody for that matter who wants to come to my platform, Insta platform, you would see the amount of freebies that we give away is insane. Literally insane. And I do that from very deep core of my heart because for me, if one thing can change one person's life, so be it. Now, I have that resource. I know it is transformational. If it is going to be for someone else, so be it. I have also been questioned by entrepreneurs that if you give away your resources for free, then who is going to come into your paid programs? Well, that's where the catch is, right? If only people could follow free resources, no health coaches would exist, no nutritionists would exist, no dietitians would exist, because
no.
everything is available on internet these days of how you can follow what you can do. People want that human touch.
Yeah.
Be rest assured that will actually multiply your business rather than depreciating,
Yeah.
right? So no, I also told you about how we have programs from $87 and up to 4K in USD. So my niche one is 4K USD, which is where we do the complete one-to-one coaching. So they get to work with me and with other coaches who work with you on a complete one-to-one basis for 87 days with 40 plus one-to-one sessions. Yeah, let's take you as an example. You come to me with an Hashimoto's and you bring along some other things that which you would want to work on, and you are here. We work with you in such a way that when you leave the program, you're here. So all of these that was troubling you, there are amazing learnings, and those learnings are life skills which you will not only carry but also pass on to generations. That's the intent behind that one-to-one, and hence it is at that price point.
Yeah.
Now there are not many who can afford the 4K. So we have
Yes.
in between the group and the one-to-one, which is called the hybrid program model. That is what is for 2K. So it's a mix of one-to-one sessions and group. We have group coaching too, and that is at 699 USD. And all of these are after scholarship price. I don't use the word discount for health. I use the word scholarship. But apart from that, we have a separate hormone reset program. Some of them are very keen, and even 699 is difficult. Then we have a hormone reset program that runs as a batch, whereas these ones are onboarded anytime, and that one comes at a 260 USD, which is very easily affordable for many of. right? That is for 3 months again, wherein you are given proper nutrition awareness for your hormonal health and well-being. You're working also on your energetics aspect of thyroid gland activation, womb activation, aura cleansing, aura shielding, all of those also you do over there. And for people who can't afford even $100, take my $87 meditation pack. It gives you 13 plus meditations, and each of them has description of when to do, what to do, how to do. You still have access to my WhatsApp community. Join in, own it, be responsible, and then ask questions. I am there to support.
Amazing.
Likewise, the last one we have is the 87 days hormonal meal plan, which only is for hormonal meal, that offers hormonal meal plan along with the WhatsApp group support. So this is how we have spread widely, so we can cater to literally anyone, Nia, and that's the actual point.
Wow, that is amazing. I don't think anybody has split the cost like Poornima has done. So thankful to you, and you're so graceful, and you have a big heart to do that, to share it with the world. So I have so much admiration for you.
Thank
What's Poornima your biggest and boldest marketing move? Something that felt terrifying, but probably tripled your email list or client roster. And I know you already told me about your freebies. Is there anything else that you want to add on to that?
Yes, I would like to tell a story. Last year, 2024, I conducted a workshop all organically without running any Facebook ads. Last year, on my Insta platform, we were around 60, 70K followers approximately. And as a free workshop, it went berserk and people want to join in. And that gives you a good boost, right? I was very excited. We had 700 plus registrations for that free workshop.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible.
When you have those many registrants, we mentally work out the business numbers in terms of how many registrants versus how many would be available, which is usually 50% would show up. And then when you're selling something, you can close anywhere between 10 or 20%. So the maths that I worked around was, all right, 700 people, even if I close even 50%, 300, let's say even 10%, I would have 30 or 40 approximately in my program that which I'm planning to open up to the audience. So the team was very excited. We did the entire workshop. I pitched it, and after I did, all that I saw was there was one person who enrolled, and that is when I realized that there is something that didn't resonate with people. The price point we offered was probably 499 USD, but people were not open to take it. So I learned, do not run a free workshop. You rather give lots of freebies. So we started running paid workshops from there. And when we finished that workshop and I was meditating, there was one thing that came, which was the $87 meditative pack. So it always sat with me for 3, 4 years. And on that day, it was like, Purnima, why don't you just package this up and put it on your Insta handle? So I packaged this up. June was the workshop, and then I packaged this up, created different payment gateways for Indian audience, international audience. And then I put it up on my Insta handle and we started to advertise that. From July to December, we had sold close to 300 plus packs of.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So
Love hearing the
low
stories.
lying fruits, Nia, if you and from that low lying fruits, I have had women come to my 4K program because they now know what Purnima offers just for $87, right? Yeah. So I think this is something that again, if you ask me, was there any strategy behind it? It's not just about strategy. I think anything that we do in life has to come from that groundedness, from that space of stepping away from, oh, this is the outcome that has happened, and then looking at it from a bird's eye view or eagle's eye view of what is my learning and how I can grow from.
Wow, Poornima, oh my gosh, I literally lost my train of thought. You were so amazing. Thank you so much. This is incredible. Microsoft actually laid off 6,000 workers. And I'm a mindset coach for women. So I actually started posting on LinkedIn that I'm giving away free mindset calls for the next 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And I had like nothing in my mind. I just wanted to give this as a tool because I understand what people go through. And I just like booked 4 calls, and like 2 people probably want to sign up to my program because I only thought about how I can help these people.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to move to the next segment because We are getting into the root cause revelation and trends. Hormonal health is exploding so much on social media, yet misinformation runs rampant. So, what's one myth about thyroid or adrenal fatigue you're on a mission to crush today?
Hmm. Once on thyroid medication, always on it.
Love that.
So there is one myth I have broken. A person who works with me as head coach, Sylvia, her thyroid numbers were at 18 when she joined my program. In 87 days, we were able to bring it to 2.69. She released 12 plus kgs, and it's 3 plus years that she has gone off medications now and has been able to balance or sustain whatever she has achieved through the program.
I had a penny for every just eat less, move more comment well. I'd be still underpaid compared to the actual root cause coaches.
Yep.
You dig deeper than symptoms. So, testing, lifestyle, mindset. How do you tailor the root cause protocols for the high performer who needs like peak mental clarity?
So I have a beautiful meditative practice because I dive so much into root cause. Not everybody understands it, right? So let me take my own example. I told you that my second pregnancy, I was diagnosed with thyroid. Now I always believed that because there was change in hormones with my second pregnancy, that the thyroid numbers spiked, which is very common. So for some women it happens, but then after the pregnancy it goes down too. So I was in that similar mindset that it will go down for me. And I was very excited that only 9 months I have to take. Then after the pregnancy, I stopped taking the thyroid medication. Now, there were a couple of things that happened. So, second time I had a baby boy versus I had an expectation as a mother that I would love to have a baby girl. Now, there are many people who have trolled me on Insta for this. Oh my God, bitched and trolled to maximum extent possible. But that's
Sorry, I'm battling with you because I have two boys, and that's exactly what I want. Between you and me, we know that how happy we are. It has nothing to do with being a boy or a girl.
when we were okay with even two girls, but life has its own way of doing. We had two boys. So with the second delivery, I was going through a lot of internal battle, and then I stopped my thyroid medication. So the internal battle put me into postpartum depression. I was crying for no reason, and then my mom asked, "Go and get your thyroid levels checked. You're crying for no reason." Then the numbers were spiked. I realized that my thyroid was not with pregnancy. After I moved to Australia in 2000, I digged deeper about why thyroid. It came like a
Yeah.
light moment for me that when I was just about to fall pregnant, there were major things happening in my life. One, I was studying for PMP certification. I had a 2.5-year-old at home, and our house was being renovated, and there was a HR case running against me in my previous organization. So you see where all of this was leading me to. The amount of stress that I had gone through for those 2-3 months, because I cleared the PMP in 33 days. So I studied.
Gosh, that's a very tough exam, by the way.
Yeah.
I was going to apply for it because I think you're like my sister from another mother. I worked in project management for 4 years.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. All of the other aspects that were happening actually triggered my thyroid gland. Why? In the language of energetics, I was storing a lot of emotions. I was not voicing my thoughts out, and led to hypothyroidism. When this tube light moment came for me, I'm like, oh my goodness. Let me work on releasing all that I have been carrying unconsciously up until now. In 21 days from then, I went off those thyroid pills.
Oh
And
my God.
that led to the root cause meditation. So I created a root cause meditation area. In fact, if somebody wants, they're more than welcome to. They can grab it from the podcast that we post. This root cause meditation allows the individuals to go back to the time when their health issue first initiated. And Nia, I can't tell you, women come call and cry with me because it took them back to when they were 7, 8 year old, of what they were going through then, how they were blamed and named and shamed as Motu from childhood, how they have carried that trauma for 20 plus years.
Yeah, I get it.
So that is the place we work from, Nia. And that is why I think it's very unique with what we do. Probably I come from this very humble space of, even if somebody comes as a competition, there cannot be another Poornima of how she does that work.
Not at
right?
all.
Yeah, this is the root cause that we do, and that is how we allow anybody, be it a high performer, be it anybody, for them to, take that step back and step into that space.
Totally. That is so amazing. And I remember my own burnout, 3 a.m., anxiety calls, zero productivity. The first time when I became a mother, I didn't even know there's something called PTSD. Went to the gynecologist, did not write that I'm going through something because I thought they'll take my kid away. I had no knowledge my body is giving me some signs, but there was nobody to guide me, tell me. My parents could not come, so I was completely by myself, and my cortisol probably was sky high. And like I'm going to tell the audience, the link to the meditation will be in the podcast. So if you're looking for it, you can see in the post description. Purnima, AI and tech are trending right now so much. Imagine an app that scans your sleep, diet, stress, and then auto prescribes a hormone balancing plan. Would that work? Or is it still like we discussed before, human nuance irreplaceable?
I'm a very strong believer of human nuances and irreplaceable, because no matter how much we can have AI in different parts of our life, it doesn't carry that emotion that I and you carry. The energy that you and I are passing through these screens sitting in Seattle and Melbourne cannot be done by an AI. So people, all those who come to me have tried everything from wearing those wristbands, etc. Yet they are not able to achieve because they want someone with whom they can speak, and AI does not have emotions for it to be able to respond. So 100% human nuance is required.
Purnima, anti-inflammation diet right now has a lot of buzz. What are some important factors to consider before jumping into any kinds of diet?
Yeah. So this anti-inflammation diet came from a space where probably Vidya Balan spoke in one of the podcasts about how for years together she has tried different things, and then it was all about inflammation that was in her body, which probably went unrecognized. Now I'm a certified hormonal and health and testosterone coach. I'm a practitioner in energetic breakthrough method. It is important that we get our markers. In the sense, it is always important that you go to that annual blood checks. It's always important to identify if you are carrying, because the blood test will reveal if there is inflammation in your body. Now if there is inflammation in the body, again it should come from a space of looking at holistically rather than just looking at diet. Now we come from Indian ethnicity where the foods that we generally eat, which can be turmeric, which can be ginger, all carry anti-inflammatory properties. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So we do have natural foods that which we always eat. But apart from that, if we are particularly going into any diet for that matter, Nia, don't go into it because you want to fix something superficially. And that superficially is always about my weight on the weighing scale is 180, 190 pounds or 90 kgs. And then I want to bring it down to 60 kgs or so, right? Look for, we are going back to that root cause. Just by breathing air, nobody goes into 90 kgs, right? Likewise, just by breathing out air, nobody goes back to 60 kgs. So by following different diets, be it anti-inflammatory, be it keto, paleo, or intermittent fasting, anything for that matter, if your blood is fully clear and there is no inflammation, why go into anti-inflammatory diet? But if there is inflammation, then there are foods that needs to be avoided. And that's a different topic where, gluten plays a role, dairy probably plays a role. You need to get further allergic testings done, etc.
Yeah.
But it is not necessary that because someone has stated and it has worked for them, it will work for you.
Yeah. And I had a few quick questions for you to do the hormone myth busting. So the first question was about carbs. They say carbs are your enemy, but isn't insulin resistance a hormone issue, not a carb issue? What's the real scoop on carbs and blood sugar?
Carbs are split in two ways: complex carbs, simple carbs, right? So now when we eat things like breads, pastas, all those aspects, the sugar spikes immediately in our body. So what happens when you eat carbs? It goes into your body as glucose and then into your bloodstreams, and then pancreas secrete a hormone called insulin so that it can absorb it and store it and use it as energy. But when you eat the simple carbs, there is an immediate rise and then the immediate spike and then crash. Versus when you eat complex carbs like, probably lentils, vegetables, etc., those ones take time for the blood sugar levels to spike. So just because somebody has diabetes does not mean they have to completely cut off carbs. However,
Right.
you have to be conscious of what is going inside their body.
Sure. And you need daily bioidentical hormones, yet standard tests don't measure every key marker like we discussed before. How do you know when you truly need HRT versus lifestyle tweaks?
Yeah, for those who don't understand what HRT is, hormone replacement therapy is what HRT is. And HRT, most of the times, it is for women who are very close to that perimenopause and menopausal stage of their health. HRT is not wrong, again, myths, and that needs to be busted. Definitely, your doctor is the person who would let you know what your body is going through by getting your estrogen, progesterone tested. But before anything else, an individual has to remember something. If your body is throwing some symptom, it is not from that time that it is throwing that symptom. They
Hmm.
say that PCOD, PCOS, diabetes, thyroid, there has to be a minimum of 4 5 years of something that's happening inside in the system from here to here. And that's when it comes out as that system. So, yep, go and see your GP. They're the best people to guide on what HRT can do for the individuals and if it is required or not. But also look at the pros and cons of it and look at where you are and why you are with your health at where you are.
This is great information. If you missed it, please rewind, hear it back again because it was really important. Everyone raves about intermittent fasting for weight loss, yet for many women, it backfires, rising cortisol and sabotaging thyroid. I had also interviewed a dietitian before. She's a bodybuilder, and according to her, uh, intermittent fasting does not work very well for women because they need to probably consume some kind of food in the first 30 minutes. But I wanted to learn from you quickly, what is your perspective towards this?
I have been a fan of intermittent fasting and I'll openly admit it. I have done I just touched 40 last year. So up until I was 38, I have done that good 16-hour intermittent fasting and and it did wonders. So intermittent fasting works with how your age is and how your stress levels are, what's happening in your day-to-day life. I was doing intermittent fasting. But after a stage, it started to affect my thyroid levels again. So, especially for women with thyroid, hypothyroidism, etc., intermittent fasting might not go hand in hand. So, it is okay for us to do a good 12 hours, 13 hours, which is required. I'm nowhere suggesting that, you eat at 10 a.m. in the night and again eat at 6 a.m. No, we should follow the circadian rhythm of sunrise and sunset. It's very important that we do that by itself will give us minimum of 12, 13 hours, but anything beyond that should be done in a way that it supports and not acts as a barrier for your overall holistic well-being.
Okay. I want to talk about Kim Kardashian, famously struggled with PCOS for years before going public. What's the biggest PCOS misperception she and we need to bust today?
Well, the one biggest myth I see is that any person who is having PCOS should have ovarian cysts. And if that person does not have the diagnosis, it can be very largely delayed and the person actually can struggle a lot. So that is one of the biggest myth that they must have it. There are several of them who there are no cysts but have irregular period issues or absenteeism of periods totally, and probably they have high estrogens, which is androgens, which is also commonly close to like testosterone hormone, which is high in women, and those two are good enough for someone to be diagnosed with PCOS, and additional ovarian cysts are notably visible. But if somebody is looking through the scan that only but are not conscious of other aspects, then it can be misdiagnosed and can take ages for that person to get the proper diagnosis.
Yeah, I was reading there's a fact that up to 20% of women have undiagnosed PCOS, yet only 50% ever get tested. So celebrities like Kim Kardashian went public only after depression and weight swings became unmanageable is when they started opening up about it. And I want to tell the people that PCOS is not a lazy problem. Like Poornima said, it's an ovarian hormone and insulin dance gone off beat. So we need to figure out how to fix that beat. Um, Last question in this segment before we wrap up this podcast was they tell you just manage your stress. That is a kind of stress that you don't think it exists, but it does. But is it chronic stress and endocrine disruptor in its own right? What's the science backed hack to reset your stress hormones?
Yeah. And this is where probably there is so much fact around how meditation helps, Nia,
Mm, yep,
right? Because it actually allows you to slow down in a world, in an era where we are or we have been taught and we continue to teach our kids to run, 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 rat race. Truly helped me with respect to several aspects of my life is to slow down. We have different levels of consciousness. Everyday practice of a stress breathing technique. Again, I would love to share that in the link, Nia. That also I give away for free.
that too.
Yeah, stress breathing technique is just for 6 minutes.
Mm,
But that 6 minutes when you invest every morning, every night, you see huge shift in your cortisol levels when it is tested. You see a huge shift in the clarity you would get to channelize and focus your energy of where you want to.
amazing. And I do want to tell the audience I am a byproduct of meditation as well. Only when I started meditation was I rebranded myself. Only when I started meditation, I had clarity about where I was heading in life. And only when I started meditation, I realized that my surroundings started getting more positive, and also the relationship with me, my husband, my kids started evolving because there was a time in my life where I thought I was so burnt out that that burnt out started coming out on the kids. And I knew there had to be a change that I had to make myself. And when you start making a change, people will start making a change around you. So the meditations are going to be in the post descriptions. Look out for them. Poornima, thank you so much for coming. We are wrapping up this episode, but you cannot leave before we do my famous rapid fire segment, which is quick, quirky, and fast. Are you ready for it?
100%. Let's do
Right, let's go. Keto, plant based, or intermittent fasting? Which style do you think is massively overhyped?
keto.
What's the biggest lie people believe about weight loss?
Interesting question because life that they cannot sustain it.
Only women over 40 experience hormonal imbalances. True or false?
False.
If you had to choose no coffee or no cardio, what sabotages you more?
No cardio.
One book or resource every health minded entrepreneur needs on their shelf.
You put health minded, but I would say for anybody for that matter, the power of your subconscious mind.
I'm a second like for that book, absolutely. Biggest hair raising healthcare you've ever had.
Losing 300 day.
That's a lot. What's your wildest clinical success story? No names, just the jaw drop moment.
A person who came to us wanting to conceive, having gone through 3 or 4 rounds of IVF, couldn't conceive, conceived in 8 weeks of joining the program.
That was the biggest jaw drop moment. And Purnima, thank you. I loved how you ended the show. You've shown us that scaling a business starts with scaling yourself, mind, body, soul, not root cause by root cause, but from turning personal crisis into six-figure impact to pioneering AI friendly, human centered, and health protocols. Your story proves real entrepreneurship is about healing and helping. If you are ready to transform your hormones and your hustle, hit that follow button, subscribe, and let Purnima's method be your blueprint. I'm Niya Desai, and I'm ending up from the Niya Desai Show right now. Thank you.
Thank you.